Welcome to The Edit. If you're a photographer looking to elevate your business, you're in the right place.
We're three seasoned pros who have managed profitable businesses over the past 2 decades. Together, we've curated strategies for what works and what doesn't, and we're here to share that knowledge with you.
Whether you're just starting out or have been around a while, join us to build sustainable, profitable, and fulfilling businesses together.
To The Edit. I am Erin from Nashville, Tennessee.
And I'm Whitney from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
I'm Amanda from Seattle.
Okay, ladies, I think we're all coffee lovers. I know that, but I don't know. How do you take your coffee? What's your favorite coffee beverage?
I will drink just about any kind of coffee if it has a really yummy flavored creamer. My husband, Peter, he drinks it black. And he buys fancy coffee, and he doesn't like to share it with me when I use creamer because he's like, he won't tell a difference. And I'm like, no, I do. I tell a difference. Yes, with creamer, I can tell if it's good. So, yes.
That's funny. Amanda, how do you take your coffee?
As I've got mine right here, I'm the same way. I have to have a flavored creamer, but honestly, when I go somewhere, I love trying new things. And so I feel like I'm always getting something new. So even though I go to the same coffee shops in my area, they never know my order because it changes every single time. Because I'm like, oh, what's this cool new seasonal flavor you've got? Or, oh, hey, I haven't tried this one before. Let's do it. So I like to kind of vary it up and just, I don't know, try a bunch of different things and see what's good.
Yum.
How about you, Erin?
I drink black coffee all day long. So I set the coffee pot. It's the last thing I do every night so that when I wake up, there is a pot of coffee waiting. And then in the afternoons, and I sip it because I know I want to drink it all day long. It's just a nice comfort thing for me. So I know not to drink it fast. So I will sip black coffee all day long. If it's cold outside and I want a treat, I will I'll order, an espresso, something, and I'll maybe put something flavored in. But y'all, I'm a black coffee girl, which makes it very simple.
I was gonna say, you and Peter would share with you.
Yeah, he would. He would let you have his bongo coffee. That's his whenever we end up in Nashville, he gets bongo coffee, and he has ordered it. That is a local Nashville coffee roaster. If anyone is listening from Nashville,
I'm listening from Nashville.
Yes, you are.
Okay. So in episode 3, we talked a lot about seasons of life and seasons within your overall business. And today we're going to zoom in and we're going to talk about slow season and how you can do certain things within your slow season just to set yourself up for success when things get busy. So the 3 of us have each chosen 2 things that we're going to talk about today on the show of things that you can do while it's slow. And then we will put more things in your newsletter just so that you can really be maximizing your time, even when you're not out shooting all of the time. So who wants to go first and share their first thing that they would do while it's slow?
I will, because I literally am doing this right now.
Do it.
Getting your camera and any other gear that you have serviced. To me, that is the most important thing. Your camera needs a tune-up. It has had a very long season of just being used constantly. So taking it to for an example, in the Seattle area, we have a store that I love to use. They're local. They do all of their own servicing there. I know that Canon and Nikon both offer services too, where you can send in your equipment. I just love supporting a local business when I can. And so I drive out there. I give them everything I have, my primary camera, my backup. Last year I had my flash serviced as well because it just was kind of lagging, and everything gets cleaned up. All of the dust stuff that's in there gets all taken care of, and it just gets this tune up, and it's amazing. And my camera runs so much better. And for me, it's just that peace of mind that, okay, I've set myself up for the rest of the year to get through this, and my camera is perfect. So that's my number 1 recommendation is get all your stuff serviced while you're not having to be out photographing, and you don't have that pressure of upcoming photo shoots. And what if something happens and you don't get your camera back in time. So do it now while things are slow, and it's just one last thing to have to worry about later.
I strongly encourage backup cameras. So hopefully, if people have a backup camera, that makes it a little bit easier to send it off. I know it's scary the first time you do it, where you're like, this is how I make all my money, and I'm just giving it away for a few weeks.
Exactly.
But it is so important. And if it's your workhorse, you've got to take care of it. So
Exactly. Yep.
I love that tip.
Yes.
Whitney, how about yours? What's your tip?
My tip, and Amanda, I love that you have a schedule. I love, because I always service my cameras, but I would think about it in July. I'd be like, I need to do this. And so I love having a schedule that you do it at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So real quick, my first tip, because I'm very excited about my second tip. Is I talk to so many photographers with my work with Swift Galleries who are like, I don't have time for social media. I don't have time for marketing. I don't have time to write newsletters. And so right now is when you need to get organized so that you can get those out quickly. You're not going to have to write all your newsletters. You don't want to write all your newsletters at once at the beginning of the year. But what you can do is get things set up, maybe get some of your a schedule put about when you're going to post or what sort of theme you're going to post in terms of content, and get everything ready and have a plan so that when you go into the busy season, you're able to just jump on it and have it ready. Because that planning is really the hardest part, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's the thing, is there's so many amazing tools out there that you can use to get things set up to be able to just have it, put it out there for you. I know Planoly is one of the ones that I've used, and it's awesome because you just set it all up and you just schedule it. And so to do that now during the slow season, I think is a really great idea, because you can get some of that stuff at least going, and it gets you into the habit and the routine to be able to do it.
Yep, absolutely. So how about you, Erin?
Excellent. So my first tip, I'll go with working on your branding. So it's been a few years. The reason this is my first tip is because I'm like speaking to myself. It has been a few years since I have really focused on branding. Part of that is because I love my branding so much right now that I haven't really wanted to mess with it. However, it's starting to look a little bit dated. So in 2017, slow season of 2017, so probably January, I hired a new web designer and a professional videographer. And so I did all of that stuff, worked on all of my branding colors and my fonts and all of my things. So the reason I think that's important to work on during your slow season, I think a lot of people during slow season, it happens to be the season that people are looking into photographers, right? So, and this isn't for everybody, but we just came off of a big engagement season with Christmas, and then we're about to go into Valentine's Day. People are going to be getting engaged and starting to look for photographers very soon. Senior portraits. A lot of seniors, this is when things start to pick up for my next year's seniors, where their moms and dads are starting to think about senior portraits. So inquiries will really start coming in soon. I think now is a really great time for a brand refresh. So mine right now, you can tell the clothes, and there's a flash drive that's dated on it, like it's engraved. You can tell that it's from 2017. But I really did. The professionals that I hired did so great at what they did. I just haven't wanted to touch it, but it's time. But just, I feel like in our industry, there are so many great photographers. You have to be looking for those things that set you apart. And a good professional brand, I think, is so important. So that's what I will be doing throughout the next few weeks. I've already been working on the website refresh will be easier. The videographer, I gotta work on that. I don't want to go out and do a promo shoot in the winter, so I've got to work on that. But Working on branding in slow season is my first tip of things to set you up for success when busy. Amanda, I'm going to throw it back to you. I'm going to see about your second tip.
Okay. This one, really boring, but again, the stuff that just needs to get done. Taxes, my least favorite thing ever. But right now when it's slow and I'm not feeling the pressure of whatever the date is, April 15th, April, whatever. I haven't actually looked to see what day it falls on this year, but I know that date's going to be here before we know it. And come January, when things are slow, that's when I take the time to get all of my ducks in a row. I make sure that everything is tied up from last season. Everything from 2023 has been recorded. I get all of my mileage numbers tracked and make sure that those are ready to go. I total up all of the money I spent on gas. I just go through this long checklist, and I use a tax professional to help me out because, my goodness, the one time I tried to do my own taxes with business was awful. I spent 10 hours working on it, and then it turns out I did something wrong. And I had to go back and hire somebody to fix it for me. So I decided it just wasn't worth it. And for anybody else out there who does the same thing too, I not only have my business, but my husband and I filed jointly. So there's a lot of extra pieces that need to be added, not only my business, but all of my husband's things too. So it's my time to make the list of everything that I need. My tax professional sends me an organizer that I can just fill in the blanks on. And it makes it so that she doesn't have to spend as many hours going through all my stuff. All the numbers are right there. If she needs anything extra, then I can provide it to her. But otherwise, you get charged typically like by the hour, as well as by the, at least for my professional, as well as the number of, I think it's pages that have to be filed. So the more that I can get done for her, the less time she needs to spend. So it's not exciting. It really sucks. It's my least favorite thing to do, but I somehow find the motivation to do it in January when there's not a whole heck of a lot going on in my photo world.
Amanda, I need a little Amanda on my shoulder. Telling me when to do these things, because you're so I am very much wait until the last minute. Absolutely. I file extensions, and then I'm just wait till the last minute of my extension.
And I feel honestly, I spent so much of my life doing that, and it just was so stressful. And since having kids, there's already this whole extra level of stress. So this is the one thing that just helps me stay sane. And it buys me the time if something happens. I think it was about 2 years ago, my husband's employer did not get him the paperwork he needed in time for my tax appointment, which I had set for February. So we at least had the flexibility to push that. And so I was still able to get everything done in time. So yeah, I've definitely had it bite me before where I've had to file extensions and I can't get an appointment with my accountant because she's already booked. And so yeah, this is just a thing that's on my list every year. So not exciting, but needs to be done. Part of owning a business.
I'm right there with you. I wait. So I have QuickBooks. So it's doing some things for me, but I still have to sit down every January and really, go over everything. And my mileage for the year, QuickBooks will track my mileage, but I have to swipe one direction for personal and one direction for business. And I do not keep up with that as well as I should. And so I'm very often in January, with a show in the background, swiping back and forth, doing all of that, categorizing my expenses. Yeah, I'm the same way. I save it till slow season and then take care of it all.
You do it. Well, and the other thing too, kind of an added benefit, is that you really get the chance to look at what your numbers are when you are forced to submit these things in. So for me, it also helps me in February, once all this is done, to really set my goals for the year, knowing how much I made last year, how much I spent in every single category. So this helps me to figure out, do I need to spend more in advertising this year? Do I have enough of a budget to start, doing that rebrand that I want to do, or get the videographer hired? It just gets these numbers really cemented so that I can go into goal planning mode after that.
I had my photography and then I had an associate studio, and we absolutely had a tax professional, and it's so helpful. And I love that you shared that. And my husband and we worked together. We had our photography business. He tried to do our taxes once, and we ended up going into a professional, and she said, just enough to be dangerous. So he knew almost everything. So he thought he knew what he was doing, but there was just enough that could have really gotten him in trouble. And that's why it's especially when you're really busy, you really need to have a professional, and it's so worth it. I mean, in the long run, it's really going to cost you less. So I love that you brought that up.
Yeah. Well, we talk about outsourcing things a lot on this podcast, and I understand that may make some listeners nervous or think, we're giving all of our profits away. But the things, I think, of all the years that we've been in business, we've just learned that there are professionals that can do it so much more efficiently. And we can be spending our time either out making money or spending time with the people that we love. So 100% agree that it's just one of those things that is worth the money spent hiring a professional for that.
Exactly. Yeah. Kind of like it's just a practice what you preach moment. Here we are telling our clients they need to hire a professional photographer and not just set up their own iPhone. And here we are, if we're not doing the same thing of hiring professionals that can help us with the things that we're not as good at. So for me, it's kind of that same sort of idea. I love giving my business to other people that can do a better job than me and who know the rules and the laws and all of that stuff. And I'm not going to be messing with my taxes. You can get in major trouble, and I don't want to deal with that. So,
okay, Whitney, I know you're excited about your second one. So let's have it.
So this is not really a business thing for you to do. But I think it's absolutely important for your business. And I've shared before that part of why I stopped doing weddings is because I got completely burnt out. And I could go into all the different ways I was burnt out, but my creative burnout was such a huge factor where I didn't even want to touch a camera for a year. And nobody should get like that. I mean, this is, we have businesses, but we're also artists. And this is something I think most of us have started because we absolutely love the art of it.
Yeah.
So my advice is during this slow season to take some time to do something creative for yourself. And I know that sounds very broad. What is something creative for myself? Do something where you get to make the choices of what's going to happen, because all of us work for clients. And that was part of my burnout is I was always creating something to make a client happy. And even if I could do my style, if I do my style and the client does not like how they look, it doesn't matter. I still have to think about somebody else when I'm working.
Yeah.
And there are so many ways that you can do this. The first thing that I did, and it was shortly after I had my son, and that was because I just felt like I had zero time for myself at all, is I decided to take a bookmaking class. So I learned to fold paper, sew books.
Oh, wow.
Covers, everything.
Cool.
So, and I actually ended up understanding a lot more how actually photography albums are made and understanding the stitches.
Cool.
I loved it. And that was kind of my first step into kind of finding myself again. I ended up, I've done so many different projects. I learned to crochet, and I'm actually wearing I made this sweater, and I was like,
no, you didn't. That is so funny.
Did you plan on wearing that today? Because you were talking about this?
I did. I wanted to wear it, and I was like, I can show it off. And if you're just listening, sign up for our newsletter, and maybe I don't know, maybe we'll have a picture of the sweater.
I'm thinking about the skeptical listener that's like, Homegirl wants us to crochet a sweater during our slow season.
And here's my plug for one of my favorite resources for photography, as well as anything creative. And that's Creative Live. And Creative Live, when it first started, was all sorts of like photography, like teaching you how to be a better photographer, marketing, everything. There's so many great resources there, but they have over the years, they've really expanded to include things, all sorts of artistic practices. I haven't looked if crochet is, I think there are some crochet things, but there's things like painting and drawing and all sorts of things, as well as, so if you're like, okay, I don't want to do any of that, it sounds terrible, I just like photography. So go do something with your camera that's for you. Like, what were you doing when you first started that you love? Do you like nature? Do you like doing urban landscapes? Whatever. Just take some time, even if it's just an hour a week. That's going to be so important. And it'll really help you refresh and not be, when it gets to be busy season, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have to do this work for the client. And right now is the perfect time to do something that you love. And then, especially with photography, when you create an image that you love, like print it the way you would for your clients. Don't just keep it on your camera. Print it, hang it up, do something to inspire yourself. I'm such a huge proponent of doing this because it absolutely keeps you from burnout. It's going to help your business in every other way if you can take that like mental break and do something that is inspiring to you.
I love it so much. I love it. Well, mine is not near as inspiring, but it's also important.
It's important. I know it's important.
So we're going to dive deeper into this in a future episode that will come out in February, most likely. And it is setting up a CRM, or basically just a software that's going to keep your business running while you're too busy to be at the computer. So we've actually already recorded that episode. I'm going to try to not give out too much, but basically I use Dubsado. There are so many, but I'm sorry, I have a pop-up, y'all. I'm just going to tell you, I have a pop-up on my computer and I have to get rid of it because I can't concentrate on you. It's right in front of your face. It's Spider telling me that it's time to calibrate my monitor. So
what else you could do in this low season?
Yes, you can
calibrate your monitor. You might as well leave this in.
That's funny. So CRM, we want you to set that up during your slow season because it's going to do things like respond to your inquiries for you if you have it set up. It's going to send out certain emails at certain times. It can send out invoices for you. It can follow up. There are so many things that our CRM will do so that all of your clients are getting the same awesome experience from you. Even if you have 4 nights in a row of photo shoots because you got rained out last week and you had to cram it all in this week, and, and life happens. And so one of the things that I love to do for me, where I already have mine set up and it's fine tuned, what January looks like for me is going into that system and just updating my contracts and updating my pricing and fine tuning everything. And if there was something that didn't work the year before, or if my clients had a lot of the same questions, I just go in and adjust it now each slow season. So setting up a CRM is and I'm going to get Amanda on the CRM train this year.
I know, it's literally on my list. I have a YouTube video pulled up on my desktop upstairs about comparing. There's 2 different ones I'm looking at right now. So it's on my list. So, after taxes.
I'm curious. I'm curious for you too, because you're just like in the thick of it with all these photography clients. What is your slow season? Is it just January?
I'm glad you asked that because I think Amanda's is a little bit different than mine.
Yeah.
From, just weather. So for me, I'm still doing a few sessions in December. We actually had a pretty mild December here. And so I took on a few more than I normally would have. Especially I have my cute little studio in the backyard and I can turn on a heater and that. So,
nice.
January, February, I'm not doing a lot of photo shoots. I did when I had my shared studio, or whenever I was doing branding photography. But right now, January, February are pretty slow. Even the 1st of March is kind of slow. I kind of say through spring break, Christmas through spring break for us. How about you, Amanda?
So here in Seattle, so much is weather dependent. Typically for my own sanity, I stop photographing it like December 1st, just so that I can get all of my client orders processed, all of the last minute photo, holiday cards, and then also my kids having to accommodate all of their half days and all of their winter break days. So right about mid-December is when it starts, when I really just shut down because the kids are home from school and I can't do anything. Goes typically through all of January, all of February, and all of March. And it really isn't until maybe middle April, end of April, that things start picking up again. The spring here is so unpredictable of whether it's going to be torrential downpours or if it's going to be okay. I don't have a studio. Most of my clients don't want to be in a studio either. So a lot of what I do is really weather dependent, and Seattle is not really great.
It's not weather dependent.
It's really not. I mean, it is weather dependent in that I can pretty much count on lots of rain, at least through February and March and April. So lots of that. But right now, what's funny is that this January is the busiest I've been in probably like 5 years. And so my busy season is actually like, I have like a random little blip right now going on, but then end of January, I don't have anything. So
you have to sneak out from today after we record.
In order to get to
the newborn.
Newborn photo shoot. So that was why this is kind of a random, weird little month, is because I have a newborn, and obviously nobody can predict when newborns are going to make their appearance. And so this baby arrived late. So now we are doing all of the photos for that. And so between that and a couple other clients who are corporate clients, and they want to do headshots to also maximize their slow season. So we're doing a bunch of headshots. So I've got a couple of days for that. And so there we go. So now my busy season won't really stop until end of January. So
Nice. Well, listeners, if you are like us and if you have somewhat of a slow season and you want to maximize the rest of your year, we are going to put so many more tips of things that we think you should be doing right now in our newsletter. To sign up for that newsletter, all you have to do is go to theeditweekly.com and type in your email address. Ladies, thank you so much for sharing today, and I can't wait to chat about the next topic.
We'll see y'all then.
Great to see you.
Bye.
Bye.